today is a business leader, an entrepreneur, a thought leader that I highly respect. He is a mentor and a person I look up to in the area of business. His name is Lee Karori. Lee Karori is an entrepreneur, a business leader. He is very passionate about the Kenyan economic agenda. He has served before as a president advisor in the Vision 2030 steering committee, and we truly celebrate him. He is an architect and now a developer with Resort and City, executive chairman of Resort and City, a real estate and development company. He is also a past chairman of Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and currently serves as a chair of the trustees of KEPSA Foundation, and you can see his passion in the private sector growth. And today we'll be listening to the leadership lessons that we can be able to harness in this storm. Bwana Lee, karibu sana. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes. We are in a storm.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you're doing in this season as a business leader, as a husband, as a family. How are you in this season of COVID?
Yeah. Thank you, William, for this opportunity to discuss matters of navigation and leadership during a storm. Yes, it is true that we are in a storm. And this storm is unusual because it's not something that anyone foresaw. You know, in business, we work with assumptions about the future, depending on the historical experiences that we have. But COVID-19 experience is unprecedented, and not just for business, but for everyone and the entire world. And that's why there's a lockdown. So it is not something that anyone would have planned for. It's not an experience that would have been expected to be the way it is. And no one factored that in their annual plans. So when we do our business plans for every year, the assumptions that we had at the beginning of this year are not working for all of us. And therefore, we have had to look in our business. What do we do at this time? And therefore, we had to take some decisions on what to do in our company. And we found that we had first to abide by the government's protocols that work from home. See, this matter is beyond your own business decision. You have to work within the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is how is the matter being handled by government, how is the world handling this, and you have to keep learning also how others are managing. So the idea was, let's first abide to the protocols that have been given as the regulations, first to keep safe for all of us, for our staff and our families. And therefore, the stay-at-home order was a very important one for all of us. But now that has a lot of implications on business, because in our business, which is real estate, it requires people to work, to be together, to engage. Construction, buildings, properties are not matters you can work from home. You can't say stay at home and you are in the field and you are building and you are constructing.
Yes.
So, however, we had to make a decision that let everyone go home and let's do what we can do within the circumstances that we have, and at the same time encourage our staff. So currently, our staff are working from home. We have asked them to do Zoom calls and working from remote. Matters of incomes also have been affected, because you see, productivity is about work. So when people are out of work, they are staying at home, productivity goes down, you are not able to bring the revenues that you were bringing before, and therefore the company suffers a setback from a financial standpoint. So how to handle that setback means that you have to relook your own budgets, cut down on all your unnecessary expenses, and also work out a plan with your own staff on some reduced costs on their side. No business was prepared for this, and therefore the business plans to cushion ourselves and most of the businesses were not there. So we have had to close our sites where we have construction works, because you could end up doing a bad job when you don't have many of your key people present. So you are better off taking a break, getting organized, waiting until the appropriate time. For the staff, what we have done is that we have kept all of them with ourselves, but we have been having conversations on how we can strike a balance on possibly a reduced level of pay during this period. Because when you're at home, you're not productive, you're not working, the revenues have come down, and they still expect the full pay. Sometimes it is not easy for the business to sustain that. The good thing is that everyone understands this is a global challenge, and everyone is affected. So we have had to also strike some restructuring arrangements with our banks for financing commitments that we already have. We have ongoing obligations. Most businesses have loans and facilities from banks and other financial institutions. So you know that the government did request our banks also to take a very positive view in terms of supporting business and employed people, provide moratoriums in terms of their loan facilities and other matters to do with the banks. For suppliers, again, when you have got a challenge like the one we have, everyone needs money. So the suppliers are also asking, can you pay us some money now? And we are saying, okay, let's we can't keep commitments as before, but possibly we can make some part payments where possible, and where not possible, give us time. So we work out also a restructure on the commitments that are ongoing with suppliers. So all this ecosystem has to be managed, and that requires leadership, because you cannot keep away and say, I'm staying at home. No, you are responsible for staff, you are responsible for suppliers, you are responsible for banks, you are accountable to very many people, your customers. And you cannot keep away and say that I'm excused because of the condition of COVID-19. No, you have to provide leadership, you have to be available, you have to be able to engage properly, you have to provide the information, and you have to show confidence that you are ready to continue providing your services even after the COVID-19. Lastly, we have been able to conduct very meaningful meetings through Zoom, and we have been able to engage in a proper manner. You have a properly run meeting, 1 hour, 2 hours. You have proper discussions, proper minuted conversations, resolutions are made, and they are executed. And we have seen that that platform is a platform that is working very well for business. Then we come into outside my business. As you know, I'm a leader at Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, which is responsible for it's the private sector umbrella body for business. KEPSA has also been taking a very active role through our leadership to engage with the government at this time. A partnership that is working very effectively on this COVID-19 response. So that has been very useful because there has been a very good effort to work out a way of cushioning business, work out an economic stimulus package with the government. As you can see recently, about a month ago, the president announced an economic stimulus package just to assist business to keep strong during this period. Those packages, as a result of discussions with a lot of the business associations and leaders led by KEPSA, and also within the government itself. And therefore, the role of private sector leadership now on the bigger picture is very important. So the business enterprises will not just survive on their own in isolation. You also have to work out a bigger picture that is an enabling environment at a national level that enables the businesses to thrive and cross through this season. And we know that the governor of our central bank also has been part of that team, and he particularly looked at how to cushion the micro, small and medium enterprise sector by bringing in regulations that provide for banks to ensure that moratoriums are given, issues of leniency to personal loan borrowers, businesses, cushioning the environment. That overarching cushion is very important.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm loving that conversation, and you're sharing your story of how you're navigating your ship in your business, and just appreciating especially the art of communication, that you're able to communicate to your staff, to your stakeholders, to your financiers, the reality of the season. And that's one of the greatest art of, I think, of leadership, communicating relentlessly. But the business owner there and the leader of that business is speaking the reality and is saying there is panic, there is low productivity, there is confusion in the team. Among them, the managers of the team are saying, yes, you've cut my salary, but I have obligations. How do you enhance calmness? How do you bring confidence? How do you let the team trust you still, that even in this short season, while communicating, that they can still be part of your team, even as COVID continues? You don't know when we are going to go back to normal. Of course, we'll not go to normal, but a new normal. How do you inspire confidence and trust and loyalty to your business, to the team that is in confusion now?
Yeah. Every business has a need it's solving. There's a problem, is a solution you are providing for which you are paid either goods or services.
Yes.
And therefore, every business has got an outcome that is beneficial to the general public. And that vision that you are serving the public, that vision that you are providing services, goods, you have a responsibility to continue championing that. So you have to remind everyone that we have a responsibility in this country. There's a contribution we are making as a company, as an enterprise, to solve some of our national needs. And we have created products around that. And therefore, our products, our services are required. And even though we are not providing them fully, sooner or later, we must be available to continue, because these are required for our nation to thrive within our sector. The second one is your own company. That this company is here to stay. This is what we have built, and we all are thriving out of the incomes. It pays the shareholders, it pays the staff. So we have a responsibility to protect this company, all of us. And therefore, you provide hope for tomorrow. That despite the fact that we are going through a tough season, this will be over. We'll go back to our normalcy. We shall all thrive again. So what we request also is that let us tighten our belts, because again, we don't want to mislead our staff and say that we will cushion 100%. Everything will run as normal. We have all the safeguards, and we have got all the reserves to take care of this season completely. I think that is not an honest way of giving your team. That's the message that we are giving.
So to you, leader, your role is to inspire hope, and you have to instill calmness and also project confidence to your teams and engage them thoroughly. Communication. And your teams is not only your staff, but also your stakeholders, your suppliers, your financiers. And as Bonali says, this is just a momentary season. Hold on to the greater vision. Hold on to the greater solution that you have for the community. So COVID is just one of the storms. There are many storms that we have been in, and I'm sure we are sailing through this storm. So Bonali, we have the vision, the 10-year plan of the company. The 5 years vision is to be here. we also have a strategic plan that you're running with. 1 year from now, 3 years. As you stated when we started, is that COVID, when we planned the year 2020, it is a new decade, it's a new year, and we were charged with hope. But no sooner had we started, March comes and COVID has shaken our ship. Now, this greater vision, this strategic plan, do we review our vision? Of course, it is the long-term vision. Do we review a strategic plan, the 3-year? Or do we review again our business plan for the 2020? As a leader, how are you running with your team in terms of the vision, the strategic plan, and the mission that you're running with in your organization?
So, in terms of vision, that one does not change.
Yes.
The vision does not get affected by the seasons, because you have got certain plans, long-term, of things that you desire your company to do and to achieve. Long-term goals, outcomes you desire, and those ones do not change. So what is changing is in terms of our strategic plan, we work with 3-year plans, and then we have work plans, annual. So we have annual work plan, a 3-year, and then our vision works at a 10-year vision range for 10 years. So over the 3-year annual work plan, we have quarterly work plans, so we work on a quarterly reviews. Now the quarterly work plans, it means that our first quarter was affected.
Yes, greatly.
So the work plan for the first quarter is affected. Now we are in the second quarter.
Equally affected.
We are now affected.
Yes.
So 2 quarters are affected.
Half
You
year.
can see that is a half a year.
Yes.
So now that obviously affects our 3-year strategic plan, because it means the time left is short to accomplish the goals and the plans that you had. So what we are doing now, we cannot revise our strategic plan for the 3 years until we are able to predict at what point we do our reviews. So for the time being, we have pegged from about 1st of July. So we have said the first half of the year is now not going to work the way it was supposed to, except for the minimal operations we're able to do within the circumstances. So our projections is that we will try and catch up on the last half of the year, which is 2 quarters, and try and see how we can leapfrog some of the activities of the first half year into the second half year. And therefore it means that if we are going to still deliver our 3-year plan, it means accelerating our work. It means that for the period left, 2.5 years, we will have half a year left. Can we try and cover as much ground as possible in that half year? Whatever we cannot, we can put in the next year. So that on overall, what we are saying is that in the left period of your strategic plan, can you deliver the 3-year program in 2.5? In which case, by the end of the 3 years, you'll have caught up.
How do you bring that collaboration so that you're not, as a business leader, you're not just a loner when you're remodeling and adjusting? How do you bring collaboration with your team members so that you're thinking together as you remodel, as you think of the half year?
What we are doing now with our managers, we are doing meetings twice a week on Zoom. And sometimes if we are just 4, if we are doing a consultation for people, you just do you do a WhatsApp call. You know, you can do a WhatsApp call, a meeting for 4 people. If you exceed 4 people, you change to Zoom. So we are doing our meetings twice a week. We do our meetings on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. So we have tried to keep a certain degree of activity so that our operations are still going on, although virtual. We are using the technology and the means available to keep communication going and moving on with the business where it is possible.
Fellow business leader, entrepreneur, this is a very rich conversation, and I'm picking a few C's. Let me use the C's, since we're in a crisis, the COVID crisis. And what I pick are, 1, as a leader, you have to maintain calm in your team. How do you do that? How do you do, the conversation has been quite rich that your role is to instill calmness in your team. Number 2 is to project confidence. Confidence in your team. You can be calm, but it can be calm of still waters. But since we are in a storm, project confidence that there is a greater vision in the business. Number 3 is communication. And Bonali has stated, communicate. Communicate relentlessly with your staff, with your customers, with your suppliers, with your financiers. But he also says collaborate. Don't be a loner. Don't retreat. Collaborate with your team so that as you navigate through this storm, you are in it together so that you can sail through. And in collaboration, there is confidence in you as a leader. In collaboration, there is calmness in the ship. In collaboration, there is a hope in a greater future. But also, I've seen compassion. As a leader, you are compassionate about your team. And that's why you're able to engage with them. You're able to continue paying them, even in the challenges that you have. But Bonali, finally, I want to bring another C, a C of cash. Cash is king in every business. While we speak to the realities here, the reality is that our revenue has been affected greatly. So our cash has gone down. Our costs are still there. I have an office, I have employees, I have other obligations. So cash is king. While there are moratoriums and all this, probably the revenue that is coming in is lesser than the cost that we have. So cash being king, how do we manage our short-term and long-term financial planning? How do we ensure that we are prudent financial managers of the little that is there? How do we conserve, or how do we, manage the little that we have in this season, even as we try to remodel, to restructure, and to refocus our strategic plans?
Cash flow is very important. For purposes of keeping going your costs and your operations and all your needs. And what has happened now is that in our business and many others, the cash flows are lower, incomes are lower, and then we also don't keep so much reserves. See, this was not an expected situation. So reserves are also not kept, for the kind of challenge we have right now. So we have had to look at the best way to cut costs and reduce what we call non-priority expenses and only be spending on what we call core, like staff costs and others like that. That is core. We have got other commitments that are ongoing. That is core. But anything that can wait can be prioritized as this can be postponed for the future when things are working better. So we have had to sort of relook our priorities and really just ensure that only very important costs are expended on. Whatever can wait has been put on hold, and that is the best way to do it. See, right now, we are talking of almost 2 months. 2 months.
The third month now.
Yeah, now we are in the third month.
Yes.
So what we are seeing is that if we moved another 2 months in the same state, then we will now be confronted with a new challenge. That now is not just about cutting costs, it's not about cushioning, but the cash flows are such that you have to take much more drastic measures to keep afloat. You see, and that is what we want to avoid. You don't want to reach a state where you are forced to now start downsizing on your staff and removing other essential costs, because that is what it would come to, and we also want to avoid that. And but you see, you have got a limit to how long you can sustain an operation without any new revenues, an operation where everyone is at home, an operation where the customers are at home, an operation where all your other sort of stakeholders are also not functioning. It means that your business model will not work. And that will trigger a new problem of layoffs. It will trigger a new problem of businesses even closing down because they cannot thrive any further over 6 months. Remember, the role of hope in God and prayer is very important.
Yes.
Because when you have a situation like you are in now, and you don't have God and you have no way of prayer, you can feel like the future has no hope. But we know God is there. We know that we have read that situations of this nature have happened in the world before. God saw the world through. People continued. Those seasons came and ended. So we have historical evidence that God has been able to restore.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for bringing that aspect of faith in God.
Yes.
And as the world is looking up to, they're wondering, where do we run to? The superpowers, it's quite interesting. It will start with the big economies, China, US, going to Europe, and Europe is spread all around, especially being a European Union, and it really affected them. And I believe God is glorified also in this season. How do we project faith? How do we bring, in this season there is fear versus faith, and so in this season, how do we project faith to the world? As a business leader also, there is a role in the community. Again, to my many says, the community is looking up to us, and it is asking, where do we run to? The community is our employees, the community is our stakeholders, the community is our customers. How do we also bring the message of faith that this is just for a season, so that we are not driven by fear, which drives our behavior, our priorities, our decisions, but faith that God will take us through this?
Yeah, when coronavirus first came, people thought it's a China problem. It's in fact Wuhan problem. So but we did not take much interest, but we were reading about it. But as time has gone, we have seen that it is a global problem, and we have seen that it is a magnitude of a challenge beyond the grasp and management of governments. And therefore, this is a matter we must all pray to Almighty God to solve. And therefore, we must focus everybody on God. That there's no government that can give you assurances and programs on COVID-19.
Science can't.
No.
Medical.
No. There are no guarantees. There's no one. Only God.
It's only God.
Only God can give you guarantees. And therefore, that's why we must focus on God. We must pray.
To the African continent more so, and to us who might appear that we are not prepared. What is your message of hope, as not only as a business leader, but also as a man of God? How do you speak to them?
You see, now, this is a time when we must all reconcile with our God. Because the kind of challenge that we are facing today, we have never seen it. And it is unprecedented to see a whole world in lockdown.
It is.
Planes packed everywhere.
Very sad.
Cities are deserted. Schools closed.
All over the world.
Religious institutions closed. The whole world. Basically, the whole world has been put to a time of pause. And we believe that God is in charge at this time, like God is in charge in all the storms that have happened before. And I think God is resetting the foundations.
Yes.
Foundation. There is something wrong around the foundations of this world over time that have been eroded, affected. So the book of 2 Chronicles 7:14, I think that is where God is looking at. God is saying, those who are called by my name, if you humble yourself, and seek and pray, seek his face, and pray, he'll hear from heaven,
and he'll heal our land,
and he will forgive our sins, and he will heal our land. So I see that being a very central part of what is happening. So it's not just strategies and planning and organizing. Prayer. Pray to God that show us the way. Pray to God that forgive our sins. And pray to God that reconcile ourselves with you.
Wow.
That is very, very important.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this pause mode, we are being asked, may we look up to God, may we pause, may we go back to God, may we reconcile with our God, but also in this pause mode, may you review yourself as a business person, as an individual in your business. And we have had very rich conversations. How do we adjust our leadership of our business? How do we adjust the leadership of the teams that you're running with? How do we adjust the leadership of ourselves? It has been a rich conversation, and we are grateful to Bwana Lee for sharing experiences, sharing his journey, sharing how he's navigating his ship in the storm. If you have any questions, any comments, please share with us as we walk through this journey that we are working with. In the 6-week journey, I'll be looking at various aspects: financing, marketing, client management, customer relationships, managing your teams. So share your comments, share your thoughts, bring in your questions, and we'll be glad to walk with you through your journey. In this first series of Sailing Through the Storm of Business, we have looked at the leadership in the storm. And our guest, Bwana Lee, has been able to help us with a few tips of how we can navigate through this storm. In the next series, we'll be having how do we maintain our brand with a very special guest, Frida Owinga. But as we walk through the 6 sessions and the 6 weeks and the journey as we go along, not just the 6 weeks, but the journey of walking together with you, I would want to invite you, having listened to this session of leading through the storm, what is your experience so far? Just share with us a paragraph of how you're going through the journey, and we will walk with you. We will share the experience with our guest, and we'll be able to share and having a helping hand. The truth is that you are not alone. We are together, and as a community, we are here to hold hands so that we can be able to steer through the ship together. The storm is not big. Our God is bigger. So please share your questions, your comments, any concerns and struggles that you have, so that even as we go to the next aspect or module of our business management, how will we steer together? So please share your questions, your comments, your struggles, so that we can hold our hands together. Finally, Bwana Lee, what is your message to this leader that is steering their ship?
I would like to say that for all the leaders and those who are managing businesses, enterprises, whatever level you are, that this is a time to be strong. This is a time to remain very positive, because when you have got a positive attitude, it moves into your business, it moves into your community and into people. You must remain hopeful, and you must show that you have faith in your teams, your faith in those around you. That is very, very important. And at all times, keep your doors open, communicating and giving updates on what is happening within your own company, so that everyone has got hope that all is well. At the same time, it's great to ensure that you do not have a victim mentality. You must always wear the victor's mentality. Keep the confidence high, keep looking into the future, and let us know that this storm is going to come to an end. We'll all be restored, and we shall all continue to serve our nation.
Wow. Yes. Thank you very much. So to my dear leader, this is a message. Hold on to the greater vision that your business is in. This storm is momentary. May you hold on to the greater vision. May you hold on to the mission and the purpose of your business. While you are in your post mode, may you reconcile with God, also may you reconcile with yourself. May you sit down with your team, may you engage, may you communicate, may you instill calmness, may you bring in and project confidence with them. May you collaborate with your team. May you in your community engage and inspire. May you role model and may you hold them with great confidence that we are walking through this storm and confidently. Join us in our next session next week, same time, and may the Lord bless you, may He keep you safe, and may He bless your business even as we sail through this ship.